Consumer Council of Fiji has always put the welfare of consumers and the protection of their rights at the forefront of their work. In the past few months, we've seen evidence of this as the CCF has been vigilant in conducting checks on traders' compliance, condemning of rotten food, and a host of other issues. With us tonight, we have the Consumer Council of Fiji CEO, Mrs. Seema Shandil, to talk to us about this. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening and thank you so much, Geraldine, and good evening to the viewers out there.
So we've got a host of different things that we'd like to explore. Let's just get straight into it. First and foremost, let's look at the conduct of real estates and real estate agents, rather, in the country. So far, could you tell us how many complaints the CCF has got regarding bogus agents this year? What are the main concerns of these complaints?
Just before I go to this question, the real estate sector has become a very lucrative business for a lot of people because a lot of money, or you could say a large sum of money, is involved in this area, and that leads to, that may cause mishaps that potentially leads to dire consequences for consumers and their financial situation. So it is extremely important for consumers to know of their rights when they are purchasing property, or actually even selling a property, or put it like that, when they are even looking for a property to rent. Given the high demand and the limited supply of housing, there is high competition in the market, and people feel pressurized to buy properties at inflated prices. So this is where they depend on the real estate agents to assist them, because it is nothing that, it is not a transaction that happens daily in their lives. It is something that is very rare, and they don't have information. So to navigate the sale and purchase processes, they need their assistance. So in a way, they act as intermediaries between the buyers and the sellers. And as I have said, that it involves a large sum of money. So this has also given birth to bogus agents. I'm not saying that all real estate agents are bad. There are some honest real estate agents who actually provide value for money between the buyers and sellers. However, the bogus real estate agents are the one that is always found to be in deceitful practices, and these practices include like high commissions being charged, together with other hidden charges and fees. Mm-hmm. So we have received a lot of complaints in this aspect. In the last 2.5 years, we have received around 25 complaints worth $320,000. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the last 12 years, the complaints were around 65 complaints were received.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've noticed that people are still harping on about the fact that there needs to be regulation of the commission that these real estate agents make on sale or of rental properties or sale of properties. But when we got the Real Estate Licensing Board to come in, they said to us that it's difficult for them to actually regulate commissioning. What do you say about that?
But before I go to that, I think I should also harp on the nature of complaints that we receive. The issue here is, non-disclosure of property prices. So that is a very important element if you are deciding to buy a potential property. And together with non-disclosure of property prices, then they have high fees attached to it. So if you look at the advertisements in our local dailies or even on the social media, you'll see that the prices are not there. And then they go further into pressure selling, which simply means they are manipulated by saying that, oh no, there are multiple buyers who want these offers. Should you move out, or should you make a decision quickly, somebody else will buy it. So this is a gimmick that is being used by real estate agents so that they can pressurize these people to buy the property. And moving on, the other issue that we have seen is the non-refundable of deposits. So when the consumers, because they are pressurized, they think if they don't take this offer, they might miss out, so they sign that sales and purchase agreement. What they forget to do, what the consumers forget to do, is they don't read the statements in the sales and purchase agreement. And there are different clauses which says if you have a change of mind, or if you opt to move out of this agreement, there will be no refund done. Mm-hmm. So then again, coming back to you, yes, we have real estate, Real B in operation, and they are looking at their acts and regulations. We had a discussion just yesterday with them, and The act has been reviewed twice, once in 2009 and the other one was in 2011. But having said that, this is an evolving sector. It is a dynamic sector and things keep on changing there. As I said, it has given birth to bogus agents. So it becomes pretty hard, to monitor, to implement and monitor these people, because these bogus agents are everywhere. They even taxi drivers. There are issues where taxi drivers, or just there are some certain conmen who pose like real estate agents. And then they go and do buying and selling between these people. So the vulnerable people out there, they cannot differentiate, and because they don't know that how to actually find out that whether they are bogus or they are licensed real estate agents.
So with all of that in mind, how does the Consumer Council go about making sure that consumers don't miss out on actually being able to purchase something that is actually worth their money, but at the same time that real estate agents and their agencies don't lose out on making the commission or getting their revenue?
So that we are an advocacy organization, so what we do is we create vigorous awareness. We continue our, holding awareness sessions with the consumers out there. We try to advise them, before you purchase any property, seek all the information about that particular property, right? Do a bit of research. It's very important to do a research. It's not that somebody is telling you or pressure selling you, that saying that, if you don't buy, you miss out. Don't worry. If you miss out on that property, definitely there will be other properties in the market that you can buy. Or what they can do is, when they are buying a property, try to get an independent valuation done, because if they are able to do that, they will actually see the fair price of that property in the market. Ask for engineer certificate that will tell them about the structural design of the building, whether it is compliant to the building code or not. So these are some of the things they need to do before they get into purchasing any property.
Very quickly before we go to break, could you tell us what sort of recourse is provided to those who have been wronged by bogus agents?
Normally what we do is, when we receive complaints, we try to hold mediation. So it is much easier to hold mediation with the licensed real estate agents, because you can get them around the table, and in many times we were very successful, because the consumers were able to get their deposits back. But sometimes it becomes difficult with the bogus agents, because it's very hard to track them. They are everywhere. Okay, so it becomes quite hard to track them. But should we are able to, then we also call them, try to mediate between them, and yeah, they have agreed at times to refund if they have taken some fees or charges from the consumers. Yeah.
Thank you for that. After the break, we'll take a look at ECAL on plastics. Welcome back. Mrs. Shandil, let's look at ECAL on plastics. The plastic bags that are normally sold at supermarkets, they'll be banned from January 1st, 2020, and the plastic bag levy will increase from 20 cents to 50 cents on low-density plastic bags. This will be effective, of course, like we said, from the beginning of next year. Styrofoam containers phased out by January 2021. However, there seems to be some sort of confusion in the market. With most of the supermarkets that give out these plastic bags with shopping, they do charge 20 cents, which is for ECAL, but then there's some supermarkets that charge an additional fee. Is this okay? Is it legal for them to profit off of it?
Okay, first of all, I think the people out there need to understand why the ECAL levy have been introduced and now it's been increased, or also why the ban on the high density plastic bags. We need to understand, because it has a negative impact on our environment, right? People and the consumers need to understand this very well. And every year 1 trillion plastic bags are consumed, and billions of it end as litter around the globe. So we need to take appropriate steps to reduce the plastic bags, the usage, so that we can protect our beautiful island, right? But coming back to your question, Geraldine, yeah, ECAL still remains 20 cents. comes 1st January 2020, as you said, it will increase to 50 cents. This is for low density plastic bags. There are some, there is only one supermarket who is retailing, actually they are charging 30 cents for the plastic bag and 20 cents is for the e-care. Right, our law is a bit silent, so what they are doing now is they are charging 10 cents additional for the retail of plastic bag. Well, we have had a discussion after receiving a lot of complaints about that, but what they are saying is they are trying to encourage the consumers to start bringing their shopping bags, because in a way what they're saying, really, we're trying to discourage the use of plastic bags.
So in essence, basically, it's 20 cents that still goes to the government for e-cal. The 10 cents that they charge additionally, they are factoring it in as two things. One, which is a discouragement for use of plastic bags, and two, because it's an overhead cost for them. It's part of their costs as a supermarket. Okay. Looking at all the information drives and all the awareness sessions that you've been conducting, there's still a few traders that have already started charging 50 cents per plastic bag, saying that because there's been an increase in e-cal that they are able to charge that much, but they are not giving receipts with that, so there's no documentation.
Okay, we haven't received any complaints in that aspect, but should any traders are charging 50 cents, please feel free to or lodge a complaint with us on 155 so that we can take appropriate actions, because as we know, the implementation date is 1st January 2020.
Now let's look at e-cal on white goods. It's going to go up. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Exactly what does that mean? There's been a bit of a flurry within certain social circles about people going out to buy products, phones, fridges, microwaves, and there have been traders who have obviously profited on this. But talk to us about e-cal on white goods and what that means.
Okay, I mean, the e-cal in white, the increase in 10% of e-cal levy on white goods is mostly on the high-end luxury items, if you might have noticed. Yeah, I understand we can't imagine our life without white goods, which is like, it's like essential commodity in all households. So while it hosts a lot of benefits, it also poses significant impact on the environment. So that was the main reason why the e-cal levy was introduced. These are the high-end ones, which includes smartphones, aircon units, freezers, TVs, dryers, and so forth. So yeah, I mean, we can say that it will put additional pressure on the wallet, but you will see that it's not the common ones that we use. Right, that is not the common white goods that we use. It is more so like the ones that is not really our need, but can be part of our wants. Yes, so having said that, I think a smart shopper can always save despite the increase in the e-cal levy, because it will eventually lead to increase in the price of these white goods.
So on that note, I had a talk with a workmate of mine, and he had said that there's a possibility, not that it should, but there's a possibility for retailers not to pass on the excess cost of this increase in e-cal for white goods onto the consumers by factoring it into their purchasing cost with their wholesalers, the ones that are providing them with these goods. Is that possible, or is that something that cannot be avoided?
If that's the case, then that means the consumers are lucky, right? If it's not passed, but should it's passed on, then I think then consumers have to be very careful about their shopping. So they need to be very smart as to, and they need to make smart decisions when it comes to buying white goods. I mean, like, avoid impulse buying, because these are some of the items that we can live without too, but I'm not saying we should, right? We need these items. It has become part and parcel of our lives, but then we become very smart decision makers. So we can get value for our money by making informed decisions. So when you are out there, don't do impulsive buying, don't overspend. Go for renowned brands, because it will provide you with the quality and the durability that you are looking for, and seek prior information. Nowadays, we have internet, right? We can go and get reviews about the product. So sometimes, what happens is we receive complaints in these areas too. When we buy white goods, we look for the cheaper priced ones, and we don't check for the brand. There are some home brands out there which doesn't have longer durability. So that is where we need to, make the best choice and get the better deals. So do a bit of research about that product and look for warranties. If that product has a warranty, try getting extended warranty, because should something goes wrong, that will avoid you from the pressure of, it becomes a stress, right, if there's a malfunctionality about a product that you have bought. So that will avoid you from the stress that you'll be facing. An extended warranty period means that if should something goes wrong, you'll be able to get the repairs done by the supplier or the manufacturer.
Now, of course, white goods do cost quite a lot of money, and for that to happen, you need to be able to budget your money, like you said. But then you have families out there that need to get these goods because they have a living to make off of them. There's the aspect of money lending and payday lending that comes into question. I'd like to ask you a few questions about that, but I reckon we should do this after the break. Welcome back. Ms. Shima Shandil, we were looking at money lending and also payday lending. This has become quite prevalent, not just in urban areas, but also in rural areas too, where people do need to have cash on hand when they need to do their shopping. This is an everyday expense now for most, and it is illegal for money lenders to hold on to people's debit cards and their PIN numbers. But it seems like this is just taken as part of the norm. I've spoken to a few people who do deal with money lenders, and they say that it's an issue of trust. But if it's illegal, then why do you think the consumers still go for it?
Okay, let me put it like this. It's always, at one point in time we need money, and then we start looking for loans, right? There are times when we are real broke, and then let's go somewhere where we can obtain quick and easy loan, so to keep ourselves afloat. Like, having said that, I think people need to be very vigilant, very careful about their spending patterns, because I understand that consumers need to cater for their needs and wants, of the family, but failing to prioritize your needs takes you into or falls you into vicious cycle of debt, which we don't want to, right? So then if you are looking for loan, very easy to obtain without any required documents, what comes into our mind? Money lenders. That's why you must have seen that this business has grown rapidly over the years, and the demand for them has given leeway for these people to start operating. Yes, payday lending has increased significantly, and we have seen that it is having a significant financial stress to the family. Most of the time we have people coming in and asking us to assist them to restructure their debt, even with the money lenders. There have been issues where money lenders have been charging interest rate way above 12%, because as per the Money Lending Act, the maximum interest rate that they can charge is 12%. But there have been cases where they have charged 20% or even more than that on the principal amount that they have loaned out.
So with the money that they have loaned out, of course, they do need to make a business, like you said. 12% is the maximum. However, this practice of handing over private information, your cards, your PIN numbers, is there any other way that they can ensure that they will be paid back their money? Is there any sort of contract that they need to engage with those that are taking money from them?
Exactly. They should ask for written documents as an evidence that they have taken just a certain amount. You are correct in saying that asking for someone's bank card and PIN number is illegal. But then, because our consumers, our people are really looking for loan, and they are in a situation where they need the money, they are so desperate that they happily give their cards and PIN number to the money lenders. So in that case, I think again I would iterate on that our people need to be very careful in spending, and yes, I'll just give you a very good example. There was this, I'll use a case study to, we can call this particular lady Maria. So because her husband lost job, he was unemployed, she needed some money to run the family, So she went to the money lender, bought around $660, and also asked the money lender if he can provide her with a leeway of 4 months, where she will start the payment after the 4th month, when the husband gets back to his job. So after 4 months, when she comes back, she has borrowed $660, but now she is being told that she has to pay $2,340.
That was the interest that they added onto the principal loan
So you know
amount.
that what the catch was? This was not even communicated to Maria. But you know, in that lapse, the 4 months lapse, the moneylender kept on charging interest on a fortnightly basis for that lapse of 4 months.
And there was no written agreement between the two?
There was no written agreement. Maria did not find out about anything. She just took the money, and then she was further threatened if she doesn't pay that much money, he will be visiting his her workplace and you know informing the boss and her workmates. So to avoid that embarrassment, she started making payments. So once she has paid 1,500, I think she came back. She thought of you know getting us involved. After our intervention, you know, we took the moneylender through the Money Lending Act, and then we highlighted to him that whatever he's doing is illegal. So he agreed finally, and then he refunded the excess and also waived the leftover amount.
Now, the Consumer Council of Fiji does happen to have a brochure on money lending, so if in case anyone needs to access this, you can get it from the Consumer Council of Fiji's either website or from their offices. But moving on to shrinkflation, now this is something that has become an issue that we don't even know exists. For the purposes of those that don't know what shrinkflation is, it's a practice of reducing the size of a product while maintaining its sticker price. For example, if 5 oranges were $2, now you get 3 oranges for $1.85 per value. For orange, it's still more expensive. How do we actually figure out whether or not this is happening in our shops?
Yeah, it's good that you have actually now, you are familiar with that word. We know we have received complaints from the consumers, but they haven't actually identified it as shrinkflation. Just to quickly brief you, what is shrinkflation? Shrinkflation is made up of 2 words, shrink and inflation. In other words, you know, it means shrinking of the items in quantity or size while the price remains the same or sometimes has even increased. So, you know, for example, if you look at the powdered milk. Before, when the powdered milk was being sold, it was 500 grams. Now you must have noticed the weight have decreased to 450 grams and the prices have gone up. Now actually you are paying more for less amount. So this is what shrinkflation is. Everybody around the world is familiar with shrinkflation, and Fiji is slowly getting familiar with it because make no mistake, it is here. Right? You have seen it, I have seen it, there are some consumers who have seen it and have brought that to our attention. So yeah, that's a new phenomenon, I would say, and it's done globally, and the manufacturers are blaming the increase in cost and increase in competition, so that's why they are doing this. Yeah.
So is there no recourse for those who feel like there's a big dent in their pockets now?
As I have said, the manufacturers are blaming the increasing cost of production and increasing competitions. For example, in United Kingdom, just recently, you must have seen the cereal maker Kellogg. So they also reduced their cornflakes pack. The packet was reduced from the weight was reduced from 790 grams to 720 grams. And the price remained the same, which was £2.69.
Yeah. Just before we go to break, is there any steps that we can collectively take to end shrinkflation, or maybe to learn to adjust to it?
We can't end, but we can adjust, right? And I would like to ask the consumers to do a bit of comparative shopping, right? If you are out there buying some stuff, please, sometimes, you know, what happens is we are so loyal. When we are out there to buy Weet-Bix, we will look for that, you know, that blue packet sanitarium Weet-Bix, rather than looking for alternative products that are there. They might taste way, way better, but because we are loyal, we don't want to switch. So it's better you go, when you are there, look out for other products that might be better in taste, that might give you value for your money. So, and also, you know, when you are there, read the labels. If you think, you know, once you have gone through the label, you have seen the weight, the price, next time when you come back, if you feel that there is a reduction in the weight, go for other alternative brands.
Now let's look at the second round of condemnation of meat and substandard quality products in the restaurants and also supermarkets, but we'll do that after the break. Welcome back. This is the fourth segment, Mrs. Shandi. Let's look at the second round of condemnation of substandard meat and also rotten fruit and vegetables that are being sold at the supermarkets. How many traders so far have you found to be selling rotten consumables, meat and fruit?
I would say almost all. So when we started with our market surveillances, which started in March, I mean, it's one of our functions. It has been an ongoing thing, but then we started another round in March, and we found that most of the supermarkets were non-compliant. They were selling meat that seemed undeemed or maybe not safe enough to be consumed. We found fruits and vegetables that were literally rotting on the shelves, products that were either expired or near to expiry, and then they are trying to get rid of those products by putting them on sale. So there were various issues, and then the cleanliness of supermarket. You must have noticed when you go near the meat section, it stinks. So these were some of the issues that were identified, and then what we did, we issued the warning letters, then we came back and then we started working with the health inspectors of municipal councils so that we can condemn all these, because we have limitation in our powers, we can't do that. So we got health inspectors from municipal councils to assist us so that we can get these products removed from the supermarkets.
To quantify this, if I'm not wrong, it's been what, 3.5 tons that had to be condemned?
This is the second round of condemnation. Initially, I think it was way above 20 tons that were condemned. Yeah.
So you've said that there's limited powers for the CCF. Is there absolutely nothing that can be done apart from just giving them spot fines and apart from giving them warning letters? Is there a possibility of getting the spot fines, or maybe having their license suspended, or maybe having their operating licenses reviewed?
Actually, we continue to push for severe penalties for these repeat offenders, and yeah, we also get involved in the relevant agencies, that is Ministry of Health, so that some appropriate actions can be taken against them. And yes, one supermarket has been taken to court, and the case is still in court. And Consumer Council will not sit quiet. We will continue with this until we can bring about some changes in the marketplace.
Now, the food and beverage industry, if not regulated properly, it could become a national health crisis. Like you've mentioned, there's rotten meat that they're trying to peddle and sell out. But then you also have restaurants that buy this rotten meat, or sometimes fresh meat, and then they cook it and then they serve it to their customers. Substandard quality meals, meals that are absolutely unhealthy, some of them being even rancid. Who is responsible for giving them their food grades?
Mostly it's Ministry of Health and the health inspectors. They are supposed to do regular inspections, move around and check whether actually whatever they are selling is fit for consumption, or whether it's safe for people's health. It should not pose any risk to the people, to people's health.
We also happen to have restaurants that seem to be selling good food, but the establishment is in shambles. You see this happening all over the capital city itself, in Suva, and they're still selling all of this. I think recently CCF had also taken pictures of some very unhygienic practices.
Yeah, we actually did a minor research on that. We have compiled the report, and as we have already, iterated that in the news, we have we have revealed all the problems that we saw with the restaurants in the news for the people to know, so that they can make informed decisions when they are deciding to go and eat out. But anyways, we have compiled the report. We have provided recommendations to the ministry and the PS of municipal council who are in charge of grading the restaurants. Definitely some actions will be taken.
For those who have gotten sick, say for example from eating bad food, do they only just lodge a complaint with the Consumer Council, or do they have an avenue that they can further with the Ministry of Health as well?
Yeah, they can. But normally what consumers do is they feel more free to lodge complaints with Consumer Council of Fiji. So what we do is we then refer these cases to Ministry of Health, because they need to do some sort of testing to verify, to say that actually that is because of the food that they have eaten.
Let's look at tampering of goods and the expiry date. Talk to us about that.
Well, as I always say, the traders continue to amaze the council, right? Time and again they sell products that is expired, that lacks the labeling. They don't meet the labeling requirement under the Food Safety Act. It very clearly says what should all be in the labels, but that is not met. And then now they have gone to the extent of tampering with the dates. the expiry dates. We have come across in supermarkets where they have actually tampered with the, you know, those sometimes they have
a label maker.
Sorry?
The label makers?
Yeah, the label maker. So what they do is they put another label on top, and it's handwritten that and you can tell that the expiry date has been tampered. And just currently something was brought to attention. This is in regards to a pharmaceutical product, whereby actually, you know, I mean, we were really amazed to see that the packet was blue and a blue nail polish was used to temper the expiry date. The product have expired in 2013. It's still on sale. This is 2019 we're talking in. And it has a blue nail polish so neatly pasted on it, or, you know, covering the expiry date. It was so hard even for me to see that it was actually tempered until my, you know, one of the employees, you
had
know,
to scratch it off.
Had to scratch it off for me to, you know, show me this is what has been done.
So that's just one instance. Why do you think that traders think that they can sort of get away with a plot line that sounds like it came out of The Simpsons? I mean, you don't expect them to get away with it in real life, yet they're still continuing to do this very boldly.
Yeah, I really fail to understand why they are doing this. Okay, it's not that we don't have the acts and regulations, we have everything in place. It's just they are ignoring to comply with it. You know, it's just mere ignorance.
So is there any warning letters that are then given to them regarding the breach of trust of consumers?
Yes, we have done that, and we have also notified the pharmaceutical board, and we are waiting for the necessary actions to be taken against this pharmacy, because sometimes what happens is when we go, there is a blame game played it amongst them. You know, the pharmacists, they blame the suppliers, and when we go to the supermarkets, you know, staff blames the management team, management blames, you know, it's a cycle of blame game. So it becomes a, so what we do is we just issue the warning letter and notify the relevant authorities, because we expect the relevant authorities to take relevant actions against them.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Shandil. After the break, we'll be back with our last segment. Welcome back. This is the final segment of our show, Mrs. Shandil. So let's look at hybrid motor vehicles, that is, the batteries, and the issues to do with their replacement. Of course, they are quite expensive, and there's quite a number of ways that traders can profit off of this. Talk to us about it.
Okay, so hybrid motor vehicle it has become very popular in Fiji. You know, if you are standing out there, two vehicles are going. In every two vehicles is a hybrid vehicle. But the reason being because of its fuel efficiency. People tend to save a lot in fuel, and also because of the lower carbon footprint. Anyways, but with this, we are receiving a lot of complaints from consumers, because once they purchase this vehicle is already used vehicle that we import into our country, so it has been used for a number of years, and generally the battery of this vehicle have a life of 10 years. So once we buy it, we should be anticipating that we will, moving forward, we'll face some issues with the battery. It might need to be replaced, or some cells in that battery needs to be replaced. So in Fiji, the main issue is the price of batteries are really high. It ranges between 3,000 to 3,500. So once something happens to the battery, the consumers go. They are not given full disclosure of the information in regards to the battery, because it's a new thing. People are not well versed about it. So what the traders need to do, they are actually making a lot of money at the expense of innocent consumers. So what they need to do is they need to inform the consumers where the battery has been brought from, right? That is, who is the supplier, what is the price, whether they are selling the battery pack or they're just selling the cells, because these are some of the findings that we actually got from our minor research. You know, my staff normally becomes mystery shopper, and they go around to check on these things. So they came to know, you know, nothing is being shared with the consumers. So when they come in, then they have to ask about the warranty period, the lifespan of the battery, and then normally they are saying this is a new battery, it will last you for 5 years. So, you know, once the consumers get that information, if somebody says it will last you for 5 years, you will be definitely happy and you will purchase that battery. But once installed, it lasts for a few months. And surprisingly, you spend so much, but then the warranty period is just either 1 year, 6 months or 3 months, depending on the retailer. So most of the time what we have seen is that it has not lasted them long. And then the traders or the retailers refuse to provide them with the redress.
So what kind of penalties apply to those traders that are just trying to get a quick buck every now and then?
Currently, they are able to play with our regulations, because, what they're saying is that we are providing warranty. They are not passing on the warranty that is provided by the manufacturer. Most of the time, they temper with that warranty period. If the manufacturer is providing 10 years, so they will provide 1 year. So having said that, what they do is they say, okay, we will provide you a redress in a prorated basis. So if you have bought the the battery, and it's something has gone wrong within 3 months of the purchase, and then you have another 9 months left, so they will give you another battery on a prorate. So they will cover the cost of 9 months, and then you have to pay for the leftover 3 months that you have used the battery for. So this becomes an additional cost to the consumers, because here they have spent 3,000, then again they go on spending additional money on this battery. So what we are calling for is, why don't we get batteries from suppliers so that you can sell merchandisable quality batteries that can last for a longer period for the consumers.
When someone is purchasing a battery or any car parts, are they supposed to be provided with paperwork as well?
Yes, definitely. Always ask for, if supposedly, that should have normally they have dockets, right, where the price should be clearly stated, the date of purchase, and if there is a warranty, the warranty should be clearly stated there as well. Because sometimes something happens with our vehicle. We can't stay with our vehicles if we have one. So we want to have it fixed as soon as possible. So we rush to the spare parts, retailer, and without thinking much, we just purchase the products. So the consumers need to, seek more information about the parts that they are buying. There are also, fake, there are fake parts available too. Parts that is actually, that may be looking similar to other parts, but once you buy it, that does not last you for long. Yeah.
We've still got some time left in this segment, so just bringing it back to what we talked about in the first segment regarding real estate agents and all the deceptive ways that they go about to turn a quick buck, talking about the bogus agents as well. There's also the issue of rental properties, and in that aspect, sometimes with their terms and conditions that they give out, there's loopholes there, and they end up trying to get as many as 5 or 6 people into a house that can only house maybe 2 to 3. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, in the previous and even now we have seen that the students, they are the ones who actually are at the beginning of the year, they look out for rental properties where they can rent and then attend the universities. So normally what we have seen is they are asked to squeeze in one room, and they end up paying a higher rental rate for that particular accommodation. Sometimes we have seen that the accommodation is of substandard accommodation being provided to the students. There was a case previously, if you might recall, our regional students, a lot of students were squeezed in one room with very pathetic conditions. Right, so yeah, I mean, even though you are students, you are in need. It's advisable that you go around looking for rental properties, and you compare the conditions with the rental rates. And at the same time, I'm calling on to the tenants, whether it's students or you have families, maybe start paying your stamp duties. Once you start paying your stamp duties, the rental rates will be registered with FRCS. We also have issues of, increasing rent. So once it's registered there, that will prohibit the landlords from increasing the rent. Once one tenant goes, they increase the rent, and they do this every time. And if they want to increase the rent, what they do is they provide eviction notice to the previous tenants. They give them 1 month. Once they move out, they increase the rent without actually improving the condition of the house. So here I would like to urge all the tenants, please start paying the stamp duty. This way we can curb the problem of increase in rent rates.
Well, we're getting towards the end of the year. Any final messages to the consumers as they go about budgeting their budgets or maybe doing their purchases?
Yeah, I would like to call on all the consumers, please make informed decisions. You can always get value for your money. What you need to do is you plan your expenses, you prepare a budget, and when you are out there, don't do impulsive buying, right? You have to remember one thing, that you have to cater for the needs. Try to cater for the needs first before you get tempted to buy or meet your wants.
Thank you very much for coming on to the show, Mrs. Shandil. We hope to see you soon and wish you all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you.
That's our show for the week. Join us again next week, Sunday. Vinaka.